We will now move on to Dr. Anagha Joshi, Dr. Anagha Rajiv Joshi, Professor and Head of Department of Radiology at Sion Hospital. And she's going to touch on the very important point on radio diagnosis in mucormycosis. Dr. Joshi.
Am I audible and is my screen seen, please?
Yes, you're audible and your screen is well seen.
First of all, let me give a big salute to my alma mater, and the current working place is Lokmanya Tilak Municipal Medical College and General Hospital. A big namaskar, namaste, Sion Hospital, and thank you for giving us this opportunity to be in your institute. Secondly, thank you, Dr. Bredu, for having me on board. Mucormycosis, the rhino or bitocerebral mucormycosis, cross-sectional imaging. Role of imaging is basically early detection. When there is a clinical suspicion, our role as radiologists is early pickup. If you pick it up early, you have to give the extension of the disease. This helps them in treating and thus planning surgery. And of course, treat and response. Now, the cross-sectional imaging that we are talking about, CT and or MRI. CT is widely available. One picks up bone erosions, and that is why it is the first imaging modality we prefer to do at our institute. And we do the paranasal sinus, cover the orbit, and also the brain these days. But not in otherwise PNSCTs, we don't cover the brain. MRI, what are the advantages? Soft tissue involvement is better picked up, especially outside paranasal sinuses, like in orbit, presence of nerve involvement, vascular invasion, infratemporal fossa extension, brain involvement like presence of infarcts, meningitis, etc. You know, MRI can pick up bone marrow edema even before the erosion starts, which is picked up on CT. CT cannot pick up bone marrow edema. So MRI has an advantage of that. And major advantage of MRI in post-operative cases, you have to do a contrast enhanced MRI because post-operative inflammatory tissue can be differentiated from residual tissue. Now, in paranasal CT scan, you usually see soft tissue density opacification, or you see mucosal thickening, or you can see fluid levels. Now, for non-radiologists, this is an axial scan, bone window, this is soft tissue window, and this is coronal scan. Let me go to the laser pointer. Okay. So what you have in the coronal soft tissue window is soft tissue opacification of the right maxillary sinus, right ethmoid sinus, plus you have soft tissue in the extracorneal compartment of the orbit. You have always the opposite normal side to compare. Normal maxillary sinus with subtle mucosal thickening, and look, these are the extraocular muscles, they are okay, whereas this, there is soft tissue. Now on this image, what do you see? The arrow shows you the periantral soft tissue or thickening. If you compare it, look at this. This is normal and this is thickened. So anterior periantral soft tissue is thickened. Again, here you have mucosal thickening in the right maxillary sinus, and on the bone image, you can see there is erosion of the posterior wall of the maxillary sinus. One important landmark that you should see is this, the pterygopalatine fossa. The mucormycosis tends to stay here, and we tell the clinician that, look, this is normal, which has got fat, and this has got soft tissue. Look at the retromaxillary fat, normal, here it has got soft tissue. So bone erosion, periantral soft tissue, anterior as well as posterior. What do you have here? You have, again, this is soft tissue window axial images. This is soft tissue opacification of the left maxillary sinus, and there is absolute periantral soft tissue, that is retromaxillary region instead of fat. There is soft tissue here, and you cannot identify that the difference between this soft tissue and the muscle here. The temporalis muscle sits here, and you cannot identify it. Also, you see subtle anterior periantral soft tissue thickening if you compare with the opposite side. Few more cases to show you that there is thinning of the posterior wall. Mind you, this is soft tissue window. Two different cases, soft tissue opacification of the maxillary sinus, a small mucosal thickening, thickened periantral soft tissue, thickened posterior periantral soft tissue. So basically, infiltration of periantral fat plane represents early imaging evidence of invasive fungal disease. And this article dates back in 1998 by Craig et al. In American Journal of Neuroradiology. So important fact is, when encounters this anterior periantral soft tissue infiltration of the anterior located fat and the thickening as a sole radiological finding, then usually it suggests presence of invasive fungal sinusitis. And what is this in the appropriate clinical setting? What is the appropriate? That there is no trauma, because if the patient had facial trauma, then they can have this periantral thickening and periantral fat stranding. So that is very important. Now let's look at some cases. What do you have here? Bone window, soft tissue window. You can see this is the medial wall of the orbit called the lamina papyracea. It is intact here. It is eroded here. You can see bone, lack of bone, and bone again. On soft tissue, you can see soft tissue opacification of the ethmoid air cell. Bone window shows you erosion of the lamina papyracea, and intraorbitally, there is soft tissue within it. This is the eyeball, this is the optic nerve, and this soft tissue is adjacent to the optic nerve. Also look at this black area. This is the normal retroorbital fat. Retroorbital fat here is hazier than compared to the opposite side. Also, there is soft tissue in the anterior ethmoid air cells on the left side. So bilateral ethmoid diseases. What do you have here? You have soft tissue opacification of the right ethmoid, mucosal thickening in the maxillary sinus, and you can appreciate there is erosion of the superior aspect of the lamina papyracea lateral to the fovea ethmoidalis. And if you compare two sides, you will see that there is a soft tissue in the intraconal. Whenever the soft tissue is within these cones of the extraocular muscles, it is called intraconal. So there is a soft tissue in the intraconal compartment of the right orbit adjacent to this optic nerve. So what I'm trying to show you are all the orbital extensions and soft tissue density or mucosal thickening with erosions. Here you have on the bone window normal left pterygoid plate. It is eroded pterygoid plate on the right side. And if you compare the infratemporal fossa, there is soft tissue in the infratemporal fossa extending into the via the infraorbital fissure, peeping into the posterior aspect of the retroorbital area. So all this side is normal fat, normal pterygoid muscles. Here there is abnormal soft tissue. So erosion and abnormal soft tissue and opacification of the sphenoid sinus with erosion of the floor. So the point that I'm trying to make here is erosions and extensive extension. Like here you have pterygopalatine fossa. There is soft tissue also in the pterygopalatine fossa. So all these are sites where mucormycosis goes and stays and extends. So bone destruction, it says that this disease is aggressive. Information about bone involvement as well as contiguous structure involvement like in the orbit or brain is useful in surgical planning. Let's go on to MRI. MRI is very interesting. Little difficult for non-radiologists. Let me identify the sequences. This is a coronal image, but T2. Why T2? Because the CSF is white here. It is called hyperintense. This is T1. Why? Because the CSF is black or hypointense. These two are coronal, and this is post-contrast axial image. Why post-contrast? Because you can see these are the sigmoid sinuses, venous sinuses, which are opacified. Let's go on to first T1 weighted image. What do you see? This is the nasal septum. These are the nasal turbinates. There is a mucosal thickening in the left maxillary sinus, which is hypointense. On post contrast, on T2 weighted images, you will see if you compare the color of the inferior nasal turbinate and that of the opposite side, you will see this is nice and bright, that is hyper intense, whereas on the opposite side, it shows the little hypo intensity of the turbinate, inferior. And look at the middle turbinate. This is the normal middle turbinate. This is thinned out, hypo intense middle turbinate. Whereas on post contrast study, the normal inferior turbinate enhances uniformly, whereas on the opposite side, it shows hypo enhancement. So the words to remember are hypo intense turbinates on T2 and hypo enhancing turbinates on contrast T1 weighted images. Again, these are the words I've already written. Here, normal signal intensity of the inferior turbinate, hypo intense inferior turbinate part of it, hypo intense posterior part of the middle turbinate. And of course, there is mucosal thickening of the maxillary sinus. So this is called as black turbinate site. Now going on to contrast. So this is contrast and this is T2 axial. You have mucosal thickening. More importantly, what do you have in the terminates? Normal signal intensity of the inferior turbinate, completely hypointense left inferior turbinate. Post contrast shows hypo enhancement of the inferior turbinate. Apart from that, you also have hypo enhancement of the mucosal thickening. Usually the sinusitis that we have, non-mucor sinusitis, the mucosa enhances. This patient, all are coronal images. This is T1, CSF is black, T2, CSF is white, and this is post-contrast T1. You have mucosal thickening, maxillary sinus right side, soft tissue opacification on the left side, ethmoid soft opacification. What do you have here? Thinned out inferior turbinate. On coronal T2, you can hardly see the nasal septum, so it has become black. You hardly see part of the inferior turbinate, only little is seen. And there is hypointense soft tissue in the ethmoid as well as medial part of the maxillary sinus. And this is hyperintense. So this, your antenna should be raised. Are we dealing with fungus? And this is retention sinusitis. Post-contrast images shows that this part of the ethmoid sinus soft tissue doesn't enhance. Also in the osteometric unit, it doesn't enhance, whereas opposite side is enhanced. So this is not, part of it is mucor a little bit, but most of it is enhancing. The non-enhancing component is your mucor. Just the arrow shows you the non-enhancing component and hypointense component on T2. Let's look at orbital and brain extension. These four are CT images, bone window and soft tissue window. Again, all this is same, opacification. If you compare the extraocular muscles, you will see the extraocular muscles on the left side are much thicker. There is a soft tissue component here. This is normal. This is thickened soft tissue. And on MRI, what do you see? You see, you can hardly, as if this is a absent turbinate. Though these are stir images, which are heavily T2 weighted images, there is hardly any, and this is not operated. Believe me, this is the septum, but here you cannot see the septum. So this is black septum. You have black turbinate. And on top of that, I'll show you this case again. Look at the brain inside. So this is nasal mucormycosis, and look in the orbit. There is hypointense area in the extracorneal compartment of the left orbit. Here you cannot really appreciate it very well, but on MRI you can appreciate it very well, this hypointense. So extension into the orbit. The same patient, see, this is the hypointense on T2. This is hypoenhancing, correct? So you have black nasal turbinate, black nasal septum, black turbinates, hypoenhancing, intraorbital extracorneal abnormal soft tissue, which is hypoenhancing. On coronal, it shows hypoenhancing component in the nasal cavity. And on axial higher cuts, it shows on the left side, this ethmoid soft tissue is not enhancing on post-contrast T1 weighted, whereas on the right side, it is enhancing. The large component within the orbit is not enhancing. So all this is Mucor. Going on to another case, this is a diffusion weighted image which shows restricted. This optic nerve is restricted, that is hyper intense or white in color, suggesting optic nerve ischemia. In this patient who has a opacification of the part of the ethmoid hair cells on the left side. And you can see, if you compare this eyeball, this orbit to this orbit, you will see this area is hypo-intense as compared to the normal hyper-intense intra and extracorneal soft tissue. So these are very important subtle findings that you have to identify. Post-contrast even weighted image, the red arrow shows thrombosed superior ophthalmic vein. The yellow arrow shows enhancing sclera. If you see on the right side, there is no enhancement, normal. This is enhancing sclera. On this, you will see medial extracorneal compartment of the orbit, non-enhancing hypointense component of Mucor, non-enhancing component in the ethmoid hair cells, enhancement along the meninges of the optic nerve, hypo-enhancing area in anterior part of the cavernous sinus. This is normal enhancing cavernous sinus, anterior part of the cavernous sinus. And this section shows that this area is the region of the trigeminal nerve, and this trigeminal nerve is enhancing much more, and this trigeminal enhancing nerve doesn't enhance. So all this is extension of mucormycosis along the nerves, extension of the orbit. This is the optic nerve. Right now there is no aneurysm, but if the cavernous sinus involves, there can be occlusion of the internal carotid artery, there can be aneurysm formation also. Again, non-enhancing soft tissue in the ethmoid, enhancing soft tissue in the retroorbital compartment of the left orbit. Now going on to a few more examples. The same patient which I showed you, where this patient had extracorneal Mucor, and I told you keep a watch on this. This is the basifrontal region. This is hyperintense on T2. And what are these? These are diffusion restricted diffusion images, and these are ADC, apparent diffusion coefficient. When you have in a setting of this area, and these are all white, we call it restricted diffusion with low ADC, and these represent infarcts. And this is flare images showing you infarct. This is both ACA, that is anterior cerebral artery infarcts, and also middle cerebral artery infarct and a watershed infarct. So this is a complication of mucormycosis. Another example which shows small areas of restricted diffusion here with low ADC value is the ACA territory acute infarct, small areas in the MCA infarcts. This is again a case of mucormycosis with some element of hypointense lesion in the right maxillary sinus. It looks as if the nasal septum is absent because it's completely dark because of involvement of Mucor. Turbinates are not seen. Believe me, this is not a post-operative case. None of the terminates because they are black turbinates. Again, hypointense soft tissue in the posterior medial part of the maxillary sinus. Another complication in this patient of mucormycosis where there is opacification of the right maxillary sinus. This is CT scan. Post-contrast is coronal images, and the center one is sagittal image. It shows a peripherally enhancing hypodense lesion in the basifrontal region of the right frontal lobe. This is suggestive of a abscess formation. And also you will see that there is a extracorneal orbital component of this fungal infection. Other intracranial abnormalities is post-contrast. Image shows meningeal enhancement in the frontal region. It shows meningeal enhancement along the anterior temporal. These are this is post-Mucor meningitis. Again, another complication in the brain. An interesting sign, a guitar pick sign. I want you to look at the normal eyeball. It is round, spherical. Here it is flattened posteriorly, correct? You will see, apart from the sclera enhancement, this is flattened. And what is this? This is called a guitar pick sign. Refers to conical deformation or tenting of the posterior ocular globe, indicating increased intraorbital pressure. That is orbital compartment syndrome. Now, is it pathognomic of mucor? Not really. It can be seen with orbital trauma where there is retroorbital hemorrhage, or it can be seen in inflammatory and other infective pathologies. Basically, it looks like the guitar pick. Showing you another example we saw day before yesterday of a guitar pick sign in this case of mucormycosis. Of course, CT doesn't show you what MR shows you. MR shows you if this was mucor, it would have been hypointense on T2. So there is soft tissue opacification in bilateral ethmoid, right side anterior, left side posterior, and you will see abnormal soft tissue in the preseptal compartment of the left orbit, plus there is fat stranding in the retroorbital compartment of the left orbit and a guitar pick sign. So all these signs are suggestive of mucormycosis. Thus, to end my talk, I would tell the radiologists in the group is knowing and recognizing radiological features of mucormycosis can expedite management in this rapidly progressive disease. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Anagha Joshi.